for your incredible performance. If we could go ahead and have everyone take your seats. The shared success of our communities depends on our solidarity with one another, and that is evidenced by that of the American Indian Cultural District and communities together with our Latino communities. We share the same goals: to uplift and empower, to stay safe and healthy, to support our families and to pursue our dreams, and to ask for respect and dignity. Mary Travis Allen, who will ground us in a land acknowledgement, has been steadfast in this work, building unity across cultures and people, advocating for equity and justice. Mary, thank you for joining us tonight. We're deeply grateful to you for your work in leading us with an acknowledgement this evening.
Good evening. I can't hear you. Okay. I thought my hearing was going for a moment. Good evening and blessing, relatives. I ask our Creator to give us blessings and protection to each of us gathered here, those that cannot be with us here, our ancestors that guide and protect us, and our future generations. We hold them in our hearts, and they give us purpose to all that we do. My name is Mary Travis Allen, and in my culture, I have to give honor to my ancestors and who I am. I am Mayagna and Chortega on my mother's side from Nicaragua, and Seneca from New York State on my father's side. Born and raised here in San Francisco and retired after 32 years of service to this city. Currently, I'm the chair of the American Indian Cultural District's Leadership Council, as well as a member of the Equity Councils for the Planning Department and SFMTA and many other committees and councils here in San Francisco. I also want to recognize Calle 24, Latino Cultural District, our sister cultural district, in their celebration of their 10-year anniversary this year. I am honored to be here with all of you this night of Pride for the San Francisco Latino Heritage Night celebration and awards ceremony. We are brought together by our ancestors to fulfill the prophecy of the eagle and the condor. The prophecy tells of this time when the indigenous people of the North and the South would reunite to renew and protect our original knowledge, languages, culture, and connection to our Earth Mother. This is a time of reconciliation, reunification, and healing of all the land and all the peoples. It is a time when we do not assimilate, hide, or be led. It is a time to reclaim our power, identity, and strength to give us, through the blood of our ancestors, that force that cannot separate us or tear us down. We that are gathered here are grateful and acknowledge that we are on the unceded land of the Ramaytush Ohlone, who are the original inhabitants of Yelamu, which is now called the San Francisco Peninsula. The Ramaytush Ohlone are the stewards of Yelamu, and in keeping with their traditions, they have never ceded, lost, or forgotten their responsibilities as caretakers of this place, as well as for all of us who reside or work on their traditional territory. We wish to honor and pay our respects by acknowledging the ancestors, elders, and relatives of the Ramaytush community, and by affirming their sovereign rights as the first people of this land. We are all guests, and as such, we are to recognize that as visitors, we benefit from living and working on their ancestral homeland. We acknowledge that we are unified by our ancestral blood that gives us pride, strength, and purpose in this gathering here today and every day in all we do. Aho, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mary, as always, for recognizing the importance of being the caretakers of this extraordinary city that we call San Francisco. Bienvenidos a todos. ¡Órale! Aquí estamos aquí en la plaza, gente. Me llamo Joaquín Torres, evaluador registrador de San Francisco, y esta noche celebramos el mes de la gerencia latina en San Francisco, una oportunidad para que celebremos nuestra historia, cultura y comunidad. Contar las historias de líderes, defensores, artistas y amigos sobre cuyos hombros nos apoyamos y que han luchado por nuestro derecho a la dignidad, equidad y la inclusión. Y para honrar la gente quien continúan este trabajo. En el nombre de Dolores Huerta, Rosario Anaya y César Chávez, y con apoyo de nuestra alcaldesa, London Breed, nuestras líderes políticas y los líderes entre nuestra comunidad. Good evening, my name is Joaquín Torres, Assessor Recorder here in San Francisco, your MC for tonight, and it is my pleasure to welcome all of you to the 2024 Latino Heritage Month celebration. I want to thank the Latino Heritage Month Planning Committee, our sponsors, and Mayor Breed for making this a special night for all of us. There are so many dignitaries to recognize tonight. I know that the Deputy Consul General de Peru is joining us tonight. Our City Attorney, David Chu. Our Sheriff, Paul Miyamoto. Supervisor, Shimon Walton. Asha Safai. Rafael Mandelman. Judges, Maria Evangelista. And Daniel Flores. The Vice Chair of the Democratic Party, Emma Heiken, is here tonight. Of course, I want to thank Olga Miranda from Local 67. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight. Our Public Defender, Mano Raju, thank you for being with us tonight. And there are so many department heads who I've seen as well, representing OCII, Thor Keflavsky, Civic Engagement and Immigrant Affairs, Jorge Rivas, Arts Commission, Ralph Remington, our Chief of Protocol, Mariam Medroglu, thank you for being here tonight. And I know there are some that I may be missing whose names I will repeat later on tonight. Tonight we honor the monumental work of César Chávez, Rosario Anaya, and of course the Consul General de México, gracias por venir, and Dolores Huerta, by recognizing the tremendous work of local heroes. Those we honor this evening have dedicated their careers, their lives, to serving the people of San Francisco, ensuring our city remains the sanctuary that it is. Their voices and those they lift up as Supervisor Myrna Melgar knows, tells the stories of our people, our private lives made public, our streets, our neighborhoods and communities, the fight for good-paying jobs, safe spaces for youth and families to learn and grow, dedication to the integrity of their professions, their trades, their disciplines, and to breaking down barriers to pave the path forward for our next generation. The common thread? Well, it's the pride that we have in what lies in the core of this ever-changing word, Latino, Latine, Latinx, Latina. We celebrate nuestra cultura, our histories, our families, our struggles, and our dreams. El sueño de San Francisco vive because each and every one of us here tonight in this room carries this pride in all that we do to shape our city's future for the better. But as all of us know, these times require more of us. They require our voices and our votes all across this country. Our rights and dignity remain under attack by national political players. And while we celebrate our power in community, we must remember to exercise that power at the ballot box. In 2020, 32 million Latinos were eligible to vote, and this year it's projected to be over 36 million, growing by 4 million people in less than 4 years. Our voice matters, our vote matters. The issues that are at stake can greatly impact our communities, the rights of undocumented and immigrant families to be safe, our struggle to build more affordable housing, create economic opportunity and empowerment, the actions that we take to combat climate change. And this November, we have the chance to stand for what we believe in, to use our voice, to vote in the words of Voto Latino, con ganas. These aspirations we have nationally and locally are not achieved alone. We need strong leaders and allies, and we also need to see ourselves represented in those roles of influence in our city. That influence is seen in our elected officials you'll hear from later this evening, like Mayor Breed and Supervisor Melgar, and through the elected service of those I mentioned earlier this evening. So many department heads represent that power and that reflection that we desire to see in Mayor Breed's administration, from department heads to deputies, from former city attorneys who are now managers of public utilities commissions, Dennis Herrera, to those leading offices across departments, early childhood, economic and workforce development, public health, child support services, civic engagement and immigrant affairs, 311 in our supervisor offices, in those leadership positions, in those nonprofits who ensure that our city is well taken care of and that our communities are able to thrive. You can see our contributions loud, thoughtful, and proud from Latino artists and activists across the city to our world-renowned celebrations like Fiesta de las Americas, to our famous lowrider shows. Our artisans, artists, chefs, and entrepreneurs, from the Tenderloin to the Mission to the Excelsior, we are intertwined as Latinos with the fabric of this city. Tonight's program reflects that. Our honorees reflect that. And no doubt tonight we're going to have an incredible time. And now I'd like to bring up our speaker, who respects and understands the needs of our Latino community, our mayor, nuestra alcaldesa, London Breed. Mayor Breed's investment in our city, in affordable housing that benefits our communities, our small businesses, our families, our youth, have provided stability and opportunity to our Latino community to make sure that incentives and resources are accessible and equitable so our Latino communities can fulfill and realize our dreams. Our mayor, London Breed.
Thank you, Joaquín, and thank you everyone so much for that warm welcome. It is so wonderful to be here to celebrate with each and every one of you. And I want to start by apologizing if I can't roll my R's as good as Joaquín Torres. But more importantly, I want to really thank the host committee. Events like this don't happen in isolation. They happen with a group of dedicated people who year in and year out come together to make this a special occasion for each and every one of you. And I want to single out one individual, Judge Maria Evangelista. What most of you may not know, she's in the courtroom in the day, but these beautiful flowers and the decorations and what you see here is because of our hard work and commitment to the community. So thank you so much, Maria, or judge, or artist formerly known as whatever you want to be called. Thank you so much. I'm honored to welcome you all to today's celebration. And I want to just congratulate the countries that celebrate their Independence Day during Latino Heritage Month in our city. Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, Mexico, Chile. All right, we got some of everybody here tonight. And I want to thank our various council generals who are joining us here today from Mexico, Colombia, Brazil, Peru. Please stand. Thank you. This month, we are celebrating with hundreds of people from here and across the region, with music, with food, performances, and so much more. It is an opportunity to uplift and celebrate the entire Latino diaspora. But all of the celebrations that Joaquín mentioned, including El Grito, which we celebrated in front of City Hall, we're not done after tonight. San Francisco is also celebrating National Taco Day. Excuse me. So I want you to go out and support all of your small businesses, all of your taquerias. That is your responsibility because we want to continue to uplift and support all small businesses, not just in the Mission, but all over San Francisco. Today, we are here to shine a spotlight on the hard work of our Latino leaders and community members and what they do every day to celebrate and uplift the diversity of San Francisco. This month's theme, The Dream of San Francisco Lives, to highlight the unique strength of immigrant communities, including our undocumented residents, who have made significant contributions to shaping the city we all know and love. This community embodies what it means to be resilient and determined. And I am proud to be mayor of a sanctuary city where we are committed to ensuring we provide a safe place for those to live, raise a family, access opportunities for all communities. And we are excited to be here with so many leaders. And if I start naming those from the Latino Task Force, Valerie, and others from the LB small business community and architects like Ann Cervantes, if I start naming all of you, I might get in trouble. But together with the community, I'm proud to say that we have acquired buildings and drastically contributed to the stabilization of so many of our Latino household members with neighborhood preference legislation, delivering 1,500 affordable units. And as of December 2023, our housing pipeline is on track to meet the goal set by the community of 2,400 affordable units in the Mission. And as I said, prioritizing through neighborhood preference the community. Our diversity is our greatest strength, and we must fight to build a brighter, more inclusive future where everyone is not only valued, but also acknowledged as a key contributor to our city's success. This is why I'm here, honored to be here tonight, to recognize some extraordinary leaders who have made an amazing difference. Starting with people like Joshua Arce. Now, I know most of you still think that Josh works for me. But the fact is, he doesn't work for me. He never has. He's always worked for the community. He's always worked to uplift and support all of you, and using all the tools at his disposal to do it. And right now, he's working with the Northern California District Council of Laborers, making sure that opportunities in labor exist for the community. He is one of those persons who has such a diverse group of things that he does, whether it's labor, whether it's the environment, whether it's workforce, you name it. He is the person that so many people call in order to get something done. And I am so honored to be here to celebrate and uplift him tonight in his extraordinary work. I see you, Mr. Carlos. Carlos and his amazing daughter, Ruby Navarro, for the Navarro's Martial Arts Studio. This man is a trailblazer. And when I say trailblazer, he started his martial arts studio before I think a lot of us were even born. He had a vision at a time when it was so difficult for someone who was a minority to open a business in the 1960s, and he made it happen, and he kept that dream alive, and he was persistent in his pursuit to ensure that so many people who are part of the community in general had an opportunity to learn self-defense, to be able to protect themselves, but more importantly, they were able to build community because of his visionary leadership. So we are so grateful to honor him tonight. And Leanne Melendez, ABC7. Raise your hand if you grew up watching Leanne Melendez. Raise your hand if she was the person you trusted most on the news to give you the right information and the right story. Raise your hand if you've seen her go out of her way to make sure she get at the heart of the story, but always, always showing people respect. I'm so grateful to honor her. She is too a trailblazer, because when you think about it, back in 1984, that's not so long ago, but that was a time where you didn't always see women and not women of color on television. Can you imagine the things that she had to go through in the newsroom? Can you imagine when she tried to get those stories, how sometimes people would turn their backs on her and didn't respect her as a journalist? Yet she still continued in this industry, opening the doors to the next generation of journalists, making people feel when she did her stories, when she showed up to those communities that were sometimes neglected, she made you feel like anything was possible, because if she was doing it, then you can do it too. So we are so happy and proud to be recognizing her today as well. So again, I want to thank all of you for being here, for this celebratory occasion, for recognizing so many extraordinary leaders. I know that this month has been a great month in San Francisco, with events from the Mission to Visitation Valley to City Hall and everywhere in between. I want everyone who is a part of the Latino community to feel that this city belongs to you too, to feel that you are respected and uplifted. And it is important that we not only celebrate the heritage, but that you are also a part of the investments we make. You are a part of the decisions we make. You are at the table helping to craft and shape and make those decisions. That's why celebrations like this are important, to remind us of how far we've come, yet still how far we need to go. Happy Latino Heritage Month in the city and county of San Francisco.
And if I could have the host committee please join Mayor Breed in receiving the proclamation for this month. To take a photo, please. All the members of the host committee.
So tonight, we are lighting City Hall in, what colors? Well, we're lighting up City Hall, so get your pictures. And then we're gonna officially declare it Latino Heritage Day in our city.
And then may I have our electeds and our department heads come and join as well, please. No, everyone stay on the steps. Stay on the steps. May we have our electeds, department heads, and also some of those I have not mentioned but will now. Our police chief, Bill Scott, thank you for joining us. Our interim fire department chief, Sandy Tong, thank you for joining us. Our Board of Education member, Lisa Weissman Ward, thank you for joining us. And please, the honorees as well to join us. And the honorees to join us in front, please. Another huge round of applause for our host committee, our electeds, our department heads who represent us and serve us in community, our Mayor London Breed, and of course our honorees who we'll be recognizing more fully as the program continues. But next, it was my honor to welcome up to the stage someone who reflects us from the ground up, a master of policy, an extraordinary politician and leader in our community, District 7 Supervisor, Myrna Melgar.
Buenas tardes, familia. Un poquito más, por energía, por favor. Buenas tardes, familia. I am Supervisor Myrna Melgar from District 7, and I have the proud honor of representing Mary Ellen Travis over here. I work for her. You know, this is a really special occasion. Yo soy orgullosamente latina, salvadoreña, americana. My family came to San Francisco in the early 80s from El Salvador during the Civil War. There was an assassination attempt against my dad, and we left within 2 weeks. and ended up in a little studio apartment off Mission Street where my sisters and I slept in a closet. Where during our first week here, we went to a public health clinic on Mission Street to get vaccines because what we had wasn't sufficient to enroll in school, where I had to translate for my parents because we all learned English much more quickly than they did. We delivered Domino's pizzas, we cleaned offices, we did all those immigrant jobs. In San Francisco, provided my sisters and I with opportunity, with freedom from violence, with a chance to not just survive, but to thrive, like it has done for millions of immigrants throughout the history of our city. And I love this place with all of my heart and will defend her and make sure that generations to come have that same opportunity, that they have access to affordable housing, to education, to all of the opportunities that I was given and my sisters were given. That's what we're fighting for. And we're fighting for a future where we have political representation, where we have investment in our community, but also where our community is the investor. So did you know that according to SF Travel, the #1 country of origin of tourists to San Francisco today is Mexico? The #1 partner in business of our country is Mexico. Earlier this year, I introduced a resolution at the Board of Supervisors because we have 17 sister cities in San Francisco, and not one of them is in Latin America or the Caribbean. But I know during the next London Breed administration, we are going to make that happen because we now live in a global, digitally connected world where borders are much more porous, where you can, text somebody in China and they get it like this. So this generation, our generation, will make sure that those investments, that those familial bonds that all of us have with people across our continent will yield that strong relationship to make our bond stronger, but also our city stronger. That as we bring back our tourist economies that we have built, because it's our people who clean those hotel rooms and do all this work and cook all the food and take care of the kids, that our investment grows as we grow our city, as we make our city stronger, as we go forward boldly towards a better tomorrow. And I am counting on you, Madam Mayor, because I know that you will have our back and that we will boldly go towards a better future for San Francisco, and one that includes all of us, our contributions, our culture, our family history, our history of struggle, but also survival and thriving in this wonderful, magical place we call home. So thank you so much for being here. We're going to do this every year, and every year it's going to get bigger and stronger. So, and thank you, Judge Evangelista, also District 7 constituent, for all these wonderful, beautiful representations of what our culture really is. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Buenas noches.
Muchísimas gracias. That's a type of leader that Myrna Melgar is, the woman from El Salvador, the esteemed lady from El Salvador, promoting the extraordinary connection that Mexico has to San Francisco. I want to recognize the Inspector General, Terry Wiley, who's here with us today. And I also want to recognize, on behalf of State Controller Malia Cohen, Deputy Controller Hasib Emran. Thank you for being with us. Tonight's celebration would not be possible without the support from the local laborers 261, the Teamsters Local 350, Teamsters Local 665, the Golden State Warriors, Mission Housing, Instituto Familiar de la Raza, Guzman Construction Group, who built these beautiful butterflies, and of course Wells Fargo. And I'd now like to invite up Lorenzo Cordova, Vice President of Philanthropy and Community Impact at Wells Fargo, to say a few words.
Good evening, everyone. I'm bummed I didn't get the memo that we had to make something. So for next year, I'll have to get creative. Good evening, buenas tardes. I'm Lorenzo Cordova, and I have the honor and privilege of leading our philanthropy and community relations for Wells Fargo, and we are thrilled to be sponsoring San Francisco Latino Heritage Month. Wells Fargo celebrates the diverse cultures in our community, including and beyond Latino Heritage Month. We are committed to recognizing the contributions and heritage of our Latinos, reflecting this diversity in our workforce and leadership. With shared purpose, we drive collective progress by providing equitable access and services and programs that promote economic well-being of all the communities we serve. So, I invite you to visit one of our branches, whether to open a bank account for one of your loved ones or to inquire about how we can support your business move forward. Wells Fargo is committed to providing you the financial services tools that you need to succeed. Additionally, I invite you to visit wellsfargo.com/impact, where you will see the footprint of our corporate foundation's work in our community. We are thrilled to have strong working relationships with some of San Francisco's leading nonprofit agencies that work day in and day out to improve the daily lives of our San Francisco community. Lastly, I'd like to give a few thank yous. First, to Roberto. I think I saw Roberto over there in the planning committee. Thank you for your leadership and gathering us all in City Hall. Latino Heritage Month in San Francisco is one of my favorite events that Wells Fargo happens to be a part of. So thank you, Roberto, and the Planning Committee for all of your efforts. Secondly, I'd like to thank our dignitaries and our elected official community that's here this evening, but in particular, I'd like to thank Mayor London Breed. Mayor London Breed, thank you for continuing to advance policies that better the lives of not just our Latino community, but our entire San Francisco ecosystem. I'd like to thank our community and my Wells Fargo colleagues who are here this evening for choosing to spend their Thursday evening in celebrating the historic contributions of our Latino community in San Francisco. Y finalmente, gracias a nuestra comunidad latina de inmigrantes por sus esfuerzos para mejorar a nuestra ciudad. Ustedes vinieron a este país a trabajar, a criar sus seres queridos, a triunfar, y nuestra ciudad es mejor por todos ustedes. So, muchas gracias. Esa celebración es para ustedes.
And now, thank you very much to Wells Fargo for your continued support of this event to ensure we can celebrate our communities with full celebrations that truly respect our contributions. Thank you. Now we move to the special part of our ceremony tonight and giving the props to those who celebrate and reflect the best of our community. First up is our Assessor Chavez Labor Award. The honoree tonight is Joshua Arce. The monumental efforts of Cesar Chavez, whose farm worker pin you can see on his lapel, is not only fighting for the rights of farm workers, but bringing communities together in nonviolence, Black, Brown, Native, and API, in the name of dignity and respect, are represented by decades of work by Mr. Joshua Arce. There are so many of us here in this room who helped Josh and who Josh has helped. No task has ever been too small, no task or challenge ever too big, or too impossible for Joshua Arce. From fighting for environmental and social justice to creating pathways for a better future for good-paying jobs, be it at Chase Center, in city departments, at construction sites, in apprenticeships, and more, to years of organizing this very event in solidarity and celebration. Josh, I'm inspired to call you a friend and an inspiration and a mentor, that throughout your time in City Hall and now in your new role, ensuring construction workers have better pay and laborers have better pay and safe working conditions, job security, and a voice in politics up and down this state, counties across the state, with the Northern California District Council of Laborers, Josh Arce is a trailblazer, and it is an honor to ask him to come up and accept the Cesar Chavez Labor Award from Mayor Breed.
Thank you. All right then. All right then. Well, thank you, Mayor. Thank you for this recognition. I'm honored. I also get the chance to tell a story about you. And it's one of my favorite moments of the past 6 years, to be honest. Cinco de Mayo, 2019. We're all getting into Roberto Hernandez lowrider. Go cruising in the Mission. And there's a lot of elected officials here, and folks may have worked with elected officials know that most elected officials like to sit in the back seat and maybe get on the next seat and wave while you're driving around. Not Mayor Breed. Mayor Breed puts Brother Joaquín, Torres, and myself in the back seat because she's on the passenger side. So we're cruising, Mission, the main streets, low and slow. Mayor says, let's go this way. Roberto turns, now we're cruising in the cuts. We get to a red light. Mayor turns and says, hit the hydraulics, Roberto. He hits the button, the car's going. The light turns, we start moving again. Mayor Breed hits the radio, cranks it to full volume. I think it was Kid Frost playing. And she says at the top of her lungs, I love our city. And that's who you are. That's who you are. That day and since and going forward, the love that you have for our city and the love you have for our comunidad on full display. Glad I got to tell that story. So I'm honored because this award is about the connection between the Latino community and the labor movement. I, like many of you here, am a beneficiary of that connection and wanted to share some reflections here and some observations and thoughts. My dad's family came up from Mexico to work in the fields picking walnuts in Ventura County. And like so many immigrant families, really like all immigrant families, hoping that each of the next generations would do better and better in terms of success and grounding roots in this new country. I was the first in my family to go to college, went to law school. I was also the first to disappoint my family, especially my grandfather Arturo, who at 90 was still working as a janitor at that time. Olga. And they were disappointed because I chose pro bono civil rights work rather than going out and making a bunch of money as a lawyer. I said, maybe in the next generation, I'll tell my kids that, maybe in the next generation, they'll know what to do. But eviction defense, housing discrimination, employment discrimination, excessive force, which was led to interesting stories with my dad, who's a retired police officer, as Chief Scott knows. Got started in Hunters Point. And the first person to show me the ropes was Mr. James Bryant, right back there. Together we sued the Bush administration for environmental racism to stop dirty power plant pollution. I worked for 8 years straight for the late, great Dr. Espinola Jackson, who became the godmother of our children, and along with ABU's James Richards taught me community organizing, and I was always moving until 2009, when my wife, Lisa Weissman Ward, and I, the commissioner, as we call her in the household, we moved to the Mission District in 2009, had two wonderful kids, Desmond and Lennon, who's right there. I think our first date was James APRI party 2007. But to again illuminate and to feel in my DNA that connection that I was talking about, the Latino community and the labor movement. I joined Laborers Union Local 261 in 2011 at the suggestion of Brother Vince Courtney Jr. to work with Diego Hernandez. I seen him over there a minute ago. I would later learn that laborer was the occupation of my great-grandfather, Rosendo Espinosa Arce, when he naturalized as a citizen in this country. But getting to know and getting the chance to work with some of the most respected and trusted leaders in our community, let me tell you, when the godmother of the Mission District, Tracy Brown Gallardo, takes you under her wing, and Roberto Hernandez, the mayor of the Mission's got your back, and Valerie Tullier Lewa is there with the chancla, looking out for you, and Ann Cervantes is watching it all, watchdogging and making calls, you know you're in the place to be. I had the chance to work with Mission Housing, Mission Language Vocational School, MNC, Hispanic Chambers of Commerce, and the connection, and here's where I kind of want to lead to, for me was crystallized during the pandemic. And I say that because I look around and everyone in this room was all hands on deck during the pandemic. I had the chance to join city government thanks to the late Mayor Ed Lee as director of our City Build program. And by the time the pandemic was here, Mayor Breed had promoted me to director of workforce development. And I see a lot of my beloved workforce familia here. I see Chad Houston, Gladys Soto. I saw some of the folks working with our director, Joaquín Torres, folks like Sister Diana Ponce de Leon to do whatever we could citywide. But the experiences working with coalitions within the Latino community, the Latino Task Force, Latino Parity and Equity Coalition, the late night calls, Ruth Barajas. We had some late night calls. Larissa Dugan Cuadra, Ani Rivera, Luis Granados, and I working on the Right to Recover program that Supervisor Hillary Ronan launched with the support of Mayor Breed. Seeing up-and-coming leaders grow during that time within our community. Jenny Robles, Rosine Garcia, Rodrigo Duran, brother, Omar De Real, Noemi Gallardo, who just graduated from San Francisco State with her ethnic studies degree. Working with labor leaders like Olga Miranda and SEIU Local 87, Tony Delorio, Teamsters Local 665, John Bouchard and Robert Sandoval at Teamsters Local 350 on the front lines with essential workers. All of this, in my mind, was grounded at that connection of the Latino community and the labor movement, because it was about work. Work specifically represented directly by labor unions or safeguarded by the mission of organized labor to protect all workers and ensure workers' right to organize and collectively bargain. And so, as Mayor Breed said about a year ago, I received an offer from Brother Oscar de la Torre, who many of you know from his days as a local labor leader. He's the head of the Northern California District Council of Laborers, representing 30,000 workers in one of the state's fastest growing unions, made me an offer that I couldn't refuse, which was to come back to the labor movement and share these experiences that we've had together, and that I'm grateful to earn this kind of recognition, and to replicate this in other places. What's special, though, having done work in other areas around the state, is it's so clear that San Francisco stands apart in honoring and not shying away from the impact of labor unions on helping to create and forge our Latino identity and the fabric of Latino culture here in the city. It's not just a San Francisco story. Thank you, sister. It's not just a San Francisco story. It's a California story. It crosses borders, working with our Consul General de Mexico, Ana Luisa Vallejo, and your deputy, Ursula Rojas Weiser, teaches us that the connection is bigger than all of us. So the themes are honoring work, upholding justice, importance of family, the defense of others, and like my sister from another Mr. Olga Talamante and I heard directly from Dolores Huerta herself, never stop fighting. Last thing I'll say, hey Mandy, how'd I do with the 3-minute limitation? I did great, right? I got up another 5 minutes. I don't need it, I just need 10 seconds. I've seen City Attorney David Chu do this quite frequently, and I'm gonna crib it from you, brother. All right, there's a lot of challenges, and there's a lot of work to be done, but I know we're all up to it, and we're gonna get it done, and I'm gonna invoke the words of the legendary labor leader for whom this award is named, when I ask you all, ¿se puede? ¿Se puede? ¿Se puede? Thank you all. Thank you, host committee. Thank you, Mayor Bree. Thank you. All right.
Thank you, Joshua Arce. Our next award is the Rosario Anaya Community Award. And I would like to invite Carlos and Ruby Navarro of Navarro Martial Arts Studio to please join me. The Rosario Anaya Community Award recognizes fierce leaders who have enhanced the lives of children, immigrants, and marginalized communities. It's my pleasure to present Navarro's Martial Arts Studio, founded by Grand Professor Carlos Navarro in 1966 and currently led by his daughter, Grandmaster Ruby Navarro. Navarro Martial Arts Studio has been a cornerstone of our mission in Excelsior communities by connecting our young people with martial arts classes. The work of the Navarro family to provide a safe space that helps children develop confidence, leadership, teamwork skills, and physical exercise has made an incredible impact on the lives of our city's families. It is truly a legacy business. Carlos first began this studio almost 60 years ago, and since then his dream has grown to become a multi-generational business and a community anchor institution, which it is, with his daughter Ruby now teaching courses to their students. Please join me in celebrating Carlos and Ruby Navarro of Navarro Martial Arts Studios. Aquí está.
Como decimos en español, bienvenidos a todos y gracias por la oportunidad. Y en realidad es un honor estar aquí y sentir el orgullo de tener esa sangre hispana. Vine a este país hará muchos años atrás y creo que no he perdido mi tiempo. Y bueno, venimos de todos los países y pues vengo de mi patria, El Salvador, Centroamérica, por supuesto, no en Brasil. All right, so Joaquín, thank you por esa presentación. And we're going back now. Self-defense or martial arts. I started not only in the martial arts, but at different sports. And in my neighborhood was so many kids, just exposed to the drugs, alcohol, etc. So, wow, I say, we have to do something about it. I see 13 years old drinking in my neighborhood. I said, somebody had to do something about it. So every Saturday, I recruit the kids, then we'll go to the Golden Gate Park to just play soccer, jugar fútbol, béisbol, básquetbol, lo que fuera. En vista de mi participación hacia la juventud, tuve la oportunidad de correr un programa. I was running a program. It was called a recreation program through some money from the city. We were providing there glee clubs, basketball, tennis, baseball, everything. And then I was so proud because people came to me and said, Mr. Navarro, my son used to be a C student. Now he's up there with the A student. Imagine how I felt. Oh my God, you know, so, and some of the kids now, I'm not 18 years old, of course, you know. Some of the kids right now, they come and say, remember me? I look at the faces, 40 years old, when I was guiding them, you know, well, 10 years old, I say, well, but now I'm so proud, like I say, I can see lawyers, engineers, et cetera, but one of those kids that was coming to my program, and I'm so proud of him. I call him Robertito, Roberto Hernandez. Come on, Roberto! So that's one of the kids in the program. And look at him, he's running for supervisor. ¿Cómo me siento? Pues es un orgullo. Luego voy a ceder un momento a mi hija, que es la que lleva la batuta ahora, podríamos decir, en el pequeño negocio. Y quiero decirles algo de mi hija. 18 a 20 años atrás, going about 20 years back, she was picked to represent United States in martial arts en España, en Barcelona, en los Juegos Olímpicos de Barcelona. Bueno, les doy ahora a mi hija para que ella dé su pequeño testimonio y muchas gracias por escucharme. Muchas gracias, ha sido un placer.
We did not write anything. We're just talking out of our hearts, so bear with us if there's not a flow within, but it's just coming out the way our heart is pumping it out. And I'm just, number one, grateful to have this honor being shared with my father. Dale las rosas cuando estén vivos para que los aprecien. Translation, give me the roses so in life so I could appreciate them, not when I'm 6 feet under. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Breed, for that. Thank you, Assessor Torres. Thank you, Judge. It is not only like my father said, the little guys that have turned into men, we are also teaching their grandchildren now. They walk through the door, they're all, remember me, and this is my son, this is my grandson. I'm all, oh my God, yes. But it makes him feel, oh my God, I feel old, but I'm still doing this, I'm still doing it, you know. I'm so proud that we're the only Hispanic San Francisco Legacy Business Martial Arts School in San Francisco that survived the pandemic. Thank you for that. We not only represent Navarros, but I feel that we represent all the Hispanic community together. And not only that, but all the schools of martial arts, because in martial arts, we treat it like a family. And we like, look at that little youngster. She's got our t-shirt on over there. You know, it's a little family affair there. So you're not only honoring us, you're honoring the future. You're honoring the future, and for that, the future is going to make a lot of sense, because they're going to have humility, discipline, and respect. Thank you very, very much.
¡Felicidades! Our final awardee for the night is going to be honored with the Dolores Huerta Lifetime Achievement Award. This year's Dolores Lifetime Achievement Award goes to a person who we have turned to for the last 30 years for trusted news at ABC 7, Leanne Melendez. She was raised in Puerto Rico, earned her bachelor's in journalism from the University of Alabama, and a master's from the University of Wisconsin. So she's paying attention to those states right now, right? Her accomplished career has covered topics locally and globally, including the AIDS epidemic, conflicts abroad, and the pandemic, to name a few. And I just want to thank you for giving us so much comfort during the pandemic, Leanne. Your reporting was astounding and grounding and made us as a community feel seen. Thank you. Her unwavering dedication to the highest journalistic standards has earned her numerous awards, including several Emmys and Latina Media Person of the Year from New York University. Her life work to ensure our residents have the critical information they need, and they do need it, to stay up to date on news happening in their communities, has engaged audiences here at home and far beyond. Let's give a huge hand to our 2024 Dolores Huerta Lifetime Achievement Awardee, Leanne Melendez. Mayor Breed.
I do have a few notes, but before I start, I just want to say, soy boricua, para que lo sepan. You know how many times I've gone up these steps chasing after mayors and supervisors? Are you sure about this, Mayor? Because I'm going to continue chasing you. Thank you, Honorable Mayor London Breed. Thank you, honorable city officials. And thank you to all my friends and family who through the years have lifted me. Thank you also to my other family at ABC 7 News who are always beside me and helping me achieve my dreams. Thank you. As we all know, journalism matters now more than ever. It's very important that people understand that. You know, one thing we learned from Dolores Huerta is that everyone influences someone. So a lot of people ask me, so at what age did you decide to become a journalist? And I tell them at the age of 17, I was a senior in high school, El Colegio de la Milagrosa en Rio Piedras, Puerto Rico. My Spanish teacher gave me a book to read. I still have the book. It's called Spix. The author, Pedro Juan Soto. So for some of you, you may not know that Spix is the derogatory term used for Puerto Ricans in New York. And they used to call us that because we would say, I don't speak English. I don't speak. So I love this book, and on the back of the book, on the back cover, I suddenly realized that the author was still a professor at the University of Puerto Rico. As luck would have it, my school was within walking distance of the University of Puerto Rico. So I decided, I'm going to interview this guy, and I'm going to get an A in this class. So I found out when his office hours were. I think it was on a Friday, 8 o'clock in the morning. So I told my colleagues at my classmates at the school, cover for me, because I've got to go interview this guy. And you have to understand, this is a all-girls Catholic high school, and they said to me, we can't cover for you, we can't lie. But they did. So I ran to the University of Puerto Rico to interview Pedro Juan Soto. He didn't know I was coming. I had my little tape recorder with me, and I remember walking down the hallway, and I could hear my heartbeat because I was so nervous. And I knocked, and he said, "Adelante," in a very deep voice. And I said, I opened the door, and I said, "Hi, my name is Leanne Melendez, and I've read your book, and I'd like to interview you." I didn't know at the time he didn't grant interviews. So he said, he must have taken pity on me, because he said, "Sure, sit down." I still have the notes from the interview when I was 17 years old. And the interview went great. I was well prepared. And in the end, I thanked him. I closed the door behind me. And I have to say, what I felt at that moment was an amazing feeling. This sense of accomplishment, a whole tingle in my body, the adrenaline, and it was something like a drug, and I knew at that moment that I wanted to feel that again and again and again and again. And I have to say that at that moment, I never thought that I would achieve what I have achieved today. So I ran back to my teacher, to the class, and she said, "Where have you been? You're late, you have a presentation." And I said, "Well, I just interviewed Pedro Juan Soto." And she said, "That's impossible. Everybody knows he doesn't give interviews." And I said, "But I did." And she called all the teachers of the senior class, and they listened to the interview. At the end of the interview, my teacher said to me, "Leanne, is that what you want to be? A journalist?" And I said, "Is that what you call it?" So yes, and here I am. Thank you. I got an A in the class. Yes, I did. So again, at that moment, I couldn't even think about, going to the places that I've been. The Persian Gulf War for 3 months. I covered the famine in Somalia. That was hard. My hotel in Baghdad was bombed by George Bush Sr. That's where all the journalists were staying in Baghdad, the Al Rashid Hotel. Look it up. Because he thought that Saddam Hussein was hiding in the bunkers below our hotel. The first president I ever covered was Ronald Reagan, and the last president I will cover will be Kamala Harris. I came to San Francisco in 1994 from New York thinking I'm going to stay here for only 3 years. I signed a contract for 3 years. After that, I'm going back to New York to the network. After the 3 years, there was an offer from CNN to be their Mexico City bureau chief. And I said no. I did not anticipate 2 things. One, I met my husband of 29 years. And I fell in love with the best city in the world, San Francisco. See, I can say that too, Mayor. So along the way, and I'll wrap it up, there have been glorious moments in my life, but also a few faux pas. And I want to share one for you to end in a funny note here. So, again, I arrived in 1994, and 6 months after I had arrived, the Chronicle went on strike. And so I was told in the newsroom, go, Leanne, go cover the workers. Go cover the staff, the photographers, see how they're feeling. Get a sense of what's going on. And I said, okay. But there was a producer who saw that I was a little lost, confused, because I had just arrived here. And that was the 6 o'clock producer, MJ Call, who's also here today. She said, Leanne, here, I'm gonna write down the name of 3 well-known columnists and reporters from the Chronicle. Try to see if you can get one of them. And I said, okay. And I left, and she said, oh, and by the way, if you happen to get the top person on that list, you will have scored royally. Okay, not a problem. So I get to the Chronicle, and there are about 40 and 50 people or so in a room, and I said to them, excuse me, could I have your attention, please? Hi, I'm Leanne Melendez from KGO TV, Channel 7. Is there a Herb Cain here? Is there a Herb Cain in the house? Herb Cain, anyone? I've got the photo to prove it. Gracias a todos. Que pasen buenas noches.
Felicidades, Leanne Melendez. May I ask all the honorees to join Mayor London Breed on the steps for a final photo. May I have all the honorees join the mayor for a photo. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our award ceremony. Remember, el sueño de San Francisco vive. The dream of San Francisco lives because we are the ones we've been waiting for. Thank you to Mission Language Vocational School Chef Alex for the delicious food that we cannot all wait to try. DJ Agana, who's going to help us continue the party in the North Light Court to your right. Felicidades a todos. Happy Latino Heritage Month. Saludos.